We're live. I think we are actually live.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Hey, hi, everybody. Welcome. Uh, I hope everybody is having a good evening. I'm Mark Mitchell with the Marks and Splashes online learning community on Google+, and I'm delighted to have Laura Backus with us tonight. We're going to talk all about Amazon and Kindle books, and will ebooks ever replace children's picture books as we've known them? A lot of big questions and small technical questions, and lots of fun stuff to talk about. Let's before we get rolling, let's do a little house cleaning. Oh, there's my audio on the other screen. Hang on just a second. Hey, hi, everybody. Welcome. You get to hear me repeat all that. I hope everybody is having a good evening. I'm Mark Mitchell with the Marks and Splashes online learning community on Google+, and I'm there. I've turned myself off, and now I'm going to check the uh, the event page, and we'll see. Great. So, would you let me know if you can hear Laura and me okay? I'm going to give some instructions to the watchers on the event page. Would you let me know if you can hear Laura and me? Laura, do you want to say something so they can hear your voice?
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here with you tonight.
Good.
You can all hear me.
Yeah, okay, let's check. Let's do a real quick check on the page and see if everybody can hear okay. If you can hear us loud enough, or if you need us to speak more closely to the microphones, let us know, because we want to make sure you can comfortably hear everything that's going on. I'm just going to give you a second to type in. Okay, Lisa says she can hear us both, so good. Good. I'm going to introduce Laura now, and then Laura can fill in the blanks on what I leave out of her introduction. And then we're going to go right into Laura's presentation and discussion. And I've got some questions for her, and I know you've got some questions for her. And we're going to have a really good time talking about all of these things, including Laura's new training course. The first one she has released in a while, and it's going to be how to use this new Amazon Kindle Kids Book Creator. So let me tell you a little bit about Laura. I seem to be clicking a lot of pages on my open screen here. Give me 1 second. Laura Backus is the publisher of Children's Book Insider and the Children's Writing Monthly and the CBI knowledge base. And we've got a link to her virtual world up on our description page on the event page there, but it's www.cbiclubhouse.com. It's a wonderful site. I want to share some screenshots of some of her online pages a little later on, so you can see all the. For those of you who aren't familiar with John and Laura, with all the resources they make available to people for free. They also have the Clubhouse, which is a treasure trove of resources for anybody interested in kidlit and writing for children. And Laura has spent 30 years in children's publishing, starting originally with Farr, Straus, and Giroux in New York City. She's worked in everything from publicity rights to subsidiary rights, book packaging, and editorial work, and she's also been a literary agent and a teacher. She's still a teacher, and still a writer. She's written for Writer's Digest, the Writer's Magazine, Writer's Journal, and she has a book out published by Random House called Best Books for Kids Who Think They Hate to Read. 125 books that will turn any child into a lifelong reader. How's that for a title and a topic, huh? She's the co-founder of the Children's Authors Bootcamp Workshop Series, and she's been a featured speaker at many high-profile writing conferences and events. In May of 1990, she published with husband John Bard the first issue of Children's Book Insider, the newsletter for children's writers. And then in 1995, they first went online with write4kids.com, write numeral 4kids.com, which continues to offer market news, instruction, and interviews. And it's grown into the massive CBI knowledge base. And again, the link to that is cbiclubhouse.com. She's critiqued and edited thousands of children's book manuscripts and is an expert on what makes some children's books classics while others fail to find an audience. And she has just come up with a comprehensive new course on Amazon's recently released software, as in 2.5 weeks ago, the Kindle Kids Book Creator. How does it work? How can authors and illustrators make the most of the software? What do the software and Amazon's new kids Kindle Reader that Amazon just came out with as well say about the viability of illustrated children's ebooks and the future of self-published children's picture books? A lot of big topics tonight. Laura, is there anything that I needed to have added to this introduction of you?
You were very thorough, Mark. I appreciate that. And yes, it sounded like our URL for our website sort of evolved and changed, and you threw out a lot of addresses there, and it can sound confusing. But later we can show all of our viewers
Yeah.
here our two main sites. And one is a public site that anybody can access, and the other is a membership site. And
Yes.
they have sort of complementary purposes. But yes, I've been the short story is I've been in publishing for almost 30 years, and I've been in children's books for a little over 25 years now. So I have seen the industry evolve and change quite a bit in that time.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I was thinking today, as I was sort of ruminating about what we were going to be talking about tonight, putting what's going on with Amazon into an historical context.
Oh great.
And it occurred to me that there's a lot of interesting things happening, but it's not the first time we've seen these things happen. So that might be where we start our discussion, if you'd like.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's yeah, that's a good place to start because we are living in historical times right now.
Yeah, we really are.
It's amazing. Let's check and make sure everybody can still hear, and also guys, if things appear to freeze on the page that you're watching, sometimes if you just go up, most of the time if you just go up and hit the refresh the page, and then click the player to start again, you'll catch right back up. And this is being recorded actually as it's happening, and the replay will be on the page the minute our live broadcast ends. And so if you miss parts of it, know that Google is recording all of it, which is pretty wonderful, and you'll have it as a resource here on the page. Let me make sure having just heard what Laura said, do you guys have some burning questions that you'd like to start off tonight's conversation with? Let me check and see what you guys have gotten. I know some of you have been posting questions starting early this afternoon, so let's see. Okay, everybody's saying they've got perfect sound, super audio, so that's relieving to hear. Okay. Laura, let's start by defining some terms. The difference between an ebook and a story app. Can we talk about that for a second? And how do you define those?
Yes, good question, and that's something a lot of people are a little confused about. An ebook is something that you read on either a designated e-reader like a Kindle or the Nook from Barnes & Noble, or you can read it on a tablet like an iPad if you have the Kindle app on your iPad. Now, an ebook is basically text and illustration, but there's no interactivity, so the child cannot move characters around on the screen. There's usually not sound, though where the technology is changing very quickly, and you can add sound to some ebooks now. Not
Oh,
the Kindle ones that we've got right now, but I imagine that will happen very quickly.
but you
There
show us
is,
in the course. You show us in the course how to
mhm,
do a new feature called pop-ups, which is a bit of
pop-ups
an
is
interactive new feature in an
it's
ebook.
a little bit it's a tiny bit interactive, not in the same way an app is, and we can
Yeah,
talk about pop-ups in a few minutes.
yeah,
It's and I've sort of discovered some cool things you can do with pop-ups, but basically pop-ups just enlarge the text on the screen when you touch a
yeah,
certain spot on the screen. An
yeah,
app is a self-contained program that you download into your iPad or your Android device, and it has sound, it has um, music, it has interactivity, so the child can manipulate things on the screen and can move characters around. It might have a game where the child is matching shapes, for example, and when they get it right, the shapes are animated and they turn into a clown or a dog. So there's
yes.
animation in an app. So an app is a more sophisticated type of storytelling device than an ebook. Like I said, I've been reading about how ebook technology is changing so fast that there are some more complicated ebook programs where you can actually embed video within your ebook. So
Yeah.
if a reader taps something on the screen, a video will open up and they can watch the video within the story. And you might have an MP3 in within the story that they can tap and hear music. So pretty soon, I imagine ebooks and apps will pretty much merge. I don't think that's going to be too far down the road.
Oh wow, wow, that's fascinating. Yeah, iBooks Author, it was one program for the iPad, but I don't think has had a lot of traction in the Kidlit community yet. Um,
No, it really hasn't. And a lot of these programs, the more sophisticated ones, in order to use them, you have to pay a pretty high fee to license the program
yes,
or pay
it's
someone to create it for you.
yeah.
So I think once the price starts coming down on those things and it becomes easier for the average non-tech person to use them, we're going to see a lot more multimedia within our ebooks, even in the
Wow,
children's book arena. Yeah.
wow, wow, amazing. Well, how would you place this all? Since you mentioned historical context, how are you seeing? You just hinted at that, but how else are you seeing this play into the whole world of children's book publishing
Right.
and
Well,
technology?
there's a couple things I was thinking about because two big concerns people have when they first heard about this KDP Kids Book Creator um, was the biggest concern was, won't there be a lot of people publishing just really bad books out there and just throwing stuff up
Right.
on Amazon that really doesn't deserve to be published? And yes, there will. Because whenever we have a revolution like this and it makes it easy for people to jump on the bandwagon, people jump on the bandwagon. But
Yeah.
we have seen this before. When I first started in publishing back in the mid 80s, children's book publishing was really coming into its own for the first time. It was a huge industry. We had the baby boomers' kids were now in school and were reading, so it was a big generation of kids. We had schools using trade books in the classrooms to supplement textbooks or sometimes in the place of textbooks for the first time ever. And there
Hmm.
was this enormous demand for children's books. And for the first time, publishers were actually seeing children's books as a viable part of their company and creating imprints just for their children's books. And publishers were springing up that did nothing but children's books. And this was a really new thing in the industry.
Hmm.
And a lot of stuff got published then that shouldn't have gotten published because there was a lot of money and there was a lot of demand. There was a lot of good things that got published too. Things like Goosebumps. I mean, that series came out in the late 80s. That was a game changer. The Babysitters Club was another big series that I worked on at the book packager I worked for. And we started getting these series that had 100 titles in them, which had never happened before because kids just wanted to keep reading, reading. Stuff that got published back then, you will never see because it's gone, because it never deserved to get published. And
Okay.
that's just the way it works. So, yes, there will be a lot of sort of not so great stuff out there that comes out of this at first. But what I say to
Hopefully
people
not
is
produced by anybody watching tonight's
no,
presentation.
nobody
Right.
watching tonight is going to do those things. First of all, the best always rises to the top. So the books that were published in the late 80s that deserve to be published are still in print. And it will be the same way with these children's ebooks. If you do something really good, if you create a quality story and have quality illustrations, it will deserve to be published and people will find it. And all you can do is be concerned with what you are producing. And if someone else produces something bad, it's not your concern because you can't do anything about it, but also the audience will find it. And that is a huge that is what Amazon has done more than anything else for readers. Um, they have created a market where the consumer is really the gatekeeper now. It used to be editors were gatekeepers, and they still are in the traditional publishers. And I think there's a great place for editors. Editors are a very
Sure.
necessary part of our process. But ultimately, it's the consumer who decides now if a book stays or goes. And so people will vote with their spending dollars. And if you give them a good product, they'll vote for your product. So put out something good, and then you have to be willing to market it. And that's just a fact in today's industry. Even if you're published by a traditional publisher, you have to
Hmm.
do the lion's share of your marketing. That's just fact of life for today's author illustrator. But if you do those two things, you're okay. And I think all of the not so great stuff that's going to come out in the next few years will filter out, and those people will either improve their craft or go find something else to do with their free
Well,
time.
that's interesting because Amazon is sort of changing the way things have worked, and they're breaking a lot of molds.
Yes.
How will they how will they position themselves in this new paradigm? They're not gatekeepers themselves. In fact, it sounds like they're just forcing open the floodgates,
They really
you
are
know?
forcing open the floodgates. And a lot of people are uncomfortable with that because they like the idea of gatekeepers. And it's just something we're going to have to get used to. Amazon is here to
they,
stay. It is.
they like the idea of gatekeepers. That's
Yes.
funny.
And so it's up to the readers now to take a little more responsibility and say, I have to figure out what's good. And they do that mainly through social media,
Hmm.
and through blogs and that sort of thing. And the Kindle Kids Book Creator is best suited for illustrated books. But if you are at all involved in the young adult fiction genre, you are probably aware that there are so many blogs out there that teens have created
Mm.
about the books they love, and they have huge followings, and these kids spread the word through social media on what's a
Wow.
great book, and they make or break an author. So
Oh, wow. Kid
kids
power.
really do, especially as you get a little bit older, the kids really do talk about what they love to read, and publishers are paying attention to these teen reviewers, because they have so much power over how their books get sold. So it's
Are
kind of
pub
interesting. Mhm.
are publishers paying any attention to the children's and YA and middle grade ebooks that are currently being produced?
They are, and I am hearing more and more about people who are self-publishing their books as ebooks, and then
Yes.
doing really well, getting great reviews on Amazon, getting a large following, and then publishers are approaching these people and offering them publishing contracts. So publishers are actually monitoring these things as a way to
Wow.
find books that they want to publish, which just goes to show that they are allowing the customer, even the publishers are allowing the customers and the readers to be the gatekeepers for
Mm.
what they ultimately are going to be publishing themselves, as opposed to reading the slush pile, which is the
Mm.
old way of doing it. So we are in quite an interesting era right now, and things are changing very rapidly. Yeah, and it's
Terminology, Laura. The Amazon is not really the publisher of these ebooks. We are the publishers of our
Right.
ebooks. Is that right?
Amazon is more like the distributor of the ebook. So
Hmm.
if you self-publish a Kindle book, you are the publisher. You own all the rights to it. It is your
Hmm.
property, and you are essentially allowing Amazon to distribute it for you to the world.
Hmm.
And depending on what type of publishing you do with Amazon, you can also distribute it elsewhere. So you could also have your ebook on the Barnes& and Noble website if you want. You can sell it through your website. You can, do giveaways on other people's websites, however you want to promote it. So Amazon is not the publisher, you are. That's a good clarification.
The economics, are they advantageous to author, illustrators, and creators? And can you talk
They
about that
are
as a way of introduction?
on the Kindle publishing program. The creator of the book gets 70% of the royalties. So if you are author illustrator, you get all 70. If you hire an illustrator, it's up to you to work out whatever agreement you're going to have with that illustrator, whether you split the royalties or you pay the illustrator a flat fee and then you keep all the royalties yourself. But
Hmm.
essentially, Amazon takes 30% for distributing your book, and you get the rest, 70%, which is huge. If
Hmm.
you go to a print publisher and you're a picture book author, you are going to get about a 5% royalty, and the illustrator is also going to get about a 5% royalty. And this might tweak up or down a little bit depending on if one of you is really famous and the other one isn't, or whatever. But that's pretty standard. A 10% royalty total on a picture book is industry standard. And very often publishers, traditional publishers, are now paying that royalty on net instead of on gross. So you used to be able to count on getting that royalty on the cover price of your book. And now most publishers are paying it on what they actually receive as profits from the
Yeah.
bookstore. And bookstores buy the books at a deep discount from the publishers. So you're really not getting 10% of that cover price anymore. So yes, it is advantageous, quite, very much so. Now, ebooks sell at a much lower price than a print book would, um, but they're also much cheaper to produce. So as a self-publisher, you don't have to worry about laying out thousands and thousands of dollars up front to create your product and to have a big inventory sitting in your garage that you have to get rid of. Um,
Yeah.
so I think that's worth a lot. Basically, everything you start making from day one is profit, which is really nice.
Why do you suppose, Laura, that Amazon even felt it was necessary to come out with a separate software, because they've already got the Kindle book creator that
Yes,
people have been using for the past few years, and
right.
they've got the Kindle Comics creator. What's
Hmm.
different? What distinguishes this new software, and why do you think Amazon did that?
Well, one of the big things that distinguishes this new software, the Kids Book Creator, is you can have a landscape orientation. So the book, the illustrations and the text and the layout can be lengthwise like a picture book, whereas before they were always the portrait orientation. So that's one
Okay.
big change. The other
Yes.
thing is with the Kids Book Creator software, you have these text pop-ups, which you don't have on the others. And what that does is when you click on the text, it enlarges it. It sort of opens up this little window on the screen and enlarges the text. And so if you
Yes.
have a page that is primarily an illustration and you have a little bit of text down here, it's easy for the kid to click on the text and be able to read it much easier. And then
Yeah.
in my course, I talk about some fun ways where you can sort of embed pop-ups within the
Yeah.
illustrations so that kids can find things where they click on a picture and a window opens up and some words might show up. So you might have a character like a little mouse in each illustration, and the kid's looking for it. When they click on it, the mouse says something in the text. So you can play around with it a little bit. Those
It's
are
an
the
interactive.
Yes, those are the two big differences, I think, between the standard Kindle book creator, which is mainly used for novels or things with more text and fewer illustrations, and then this kids book creator. With the comics one, that's really designed to have panels of illustrations on the page,
Right.
and then each panel enlarges one after the
Yeah.
other so that it's easy to
Oh,
read. And so
okay.
that's a great device. If you're doing a comic book or graphic novel, that is a great way to do it.
Well,
I have not played around with that one as much, but it doesn't look to me like it's as easy to lay text down in that.
the pop-up feature is a significant way because look how small this is, like a Kindle, regular Kindle Fire
Yeah.
screen. And so it is an issue of if the text is too small, a child, particularly as you point out in the course, a beginning reader, is going to have trouble reading,
Hmm.
and so it's much more reader friendly when it does pop
Yes.
up. So I see why that is a new feature. I'm
Hmm.
also curious though if the new software treats image files any differently than previous softwares. And I realize that's kind of a geek question. It may not even be, I mean, I don't know the answer to that. And but it does seem like they're paying more attention to the problem that existed before with earlier softwares about just how to deal with
Yes.
these image files that are big and heavy and
Images were always an issue, and I have played around with different size files, image files, and I've loaded some pretty big ones into this kids book creator, and it's done fine with them. Now, on
huh.
my in my course, I talk about the ratio of length to height that seems to work best to fill up the screen.
Oh yeah.
And I also
Okay.
give you Amazon's official line on that, which I asked them, and they came back and gave me a proportion that they said worked
Yeah.
best, and I don't agree with them.
And
So
you had issue with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had issue with it. So I show you various things in my videos, and mainly you have to play around yourself with the images, and sometimes you might not want the image to fill up the whole screen. You might want it to just be a partial, uh, like a half page illustration, and then put text in the white space, and you can do that with this software, which is really nice.
Okay, great, great. Well, let's check the wall for some questions from you guys, and I think we've already answered Lisa's question about about publishers. Would they publish a book? Would legacy publishers pick up a book that's already been an Amazon ebook? And Laura's answered that and said yes, they're looking for good properties. It almost sounds like the slush pile has now fallen into the lap of the consumers out there. We're the
In a
slush
lot
pile,
of ways, well,
and
agents
Amazon's
and
going to just pick
consumers,
the.
yes. Yeah, that's true. It's very true, and it's at its core, book publishing is a business, like everything
Yeah,
else, and so they're starting to look at it that way when they're looking at their new products and say, what does the market want?
yeah,
And as long as we consumers continue to have good taste, we'll get good books. So we have some responsibility in that, um,
yeah,
to really seek out the good books and to purchase those. I'm sorry, I need to cough.
yeah. You bet. Um, and Debbie is asking while you're coughing, uh, would you have to pay some computer tech person to set up your book to be viewed? And that's exactly what Laura's course is about. Laura, do you want to answer Debbie's question? Uh,
Sure. I am a completely non-tech person, and I am also not an artistic person. I'm not an illustrator. So I approached using this course as someone who has no tech or artistic talent. Could I envision a book to do something, and could I make the software do that? It is not complicated software. It has its limitations, and I talk about some of those in my course, and I am hoping Amazon fixes these as they start getting feedback. And one of the uh, features of our course is that once you purchase it, it's all online and you get a lifetime access. And so we will constantly be putting updates into the course as we learn new things from Amazon, as they improve the software. As I get questions from users saying, "How do I do this?" and then I figure it out, I'll make a little video and put it up on the course as an update.
mm,
So um, hopefully Amazon will be responsive to these things and will constantly improve the book creator, because it's a good start but there are some things in there that could easily be improved, and I don't think it would be too hard for them to do it. And I imagine they will. I think they'll get a lot of feedback on that. But to
Um,
answer your question, it's very easy.
and I've been through the technical parts of the lessons, video lessons in Laura's course just this afternoon, as a matter of fact, and is the way Laura walks through it. It's surprisingly easy, and she just steps through in this very patient way, and she makes it easy. So, but now there have been other platforms, and Laura was telling me about this last night. We were talking. Other platforms that have been around for a while to help authors and self-publishers upload their works for
Sure.
children into Kindle. Amazon's Kindle Kids Book Creator is not the only animal by any means. And Laura was telling me about Smashwords and
Book
what were some of the others?
Baby, Book
Ba-
Baby,
Book
Lulu.
Baby,
There's
and
there's several, and they're good companies. They do great work, um, and yes, they exist for self-published authors to help them design and publish either print or ebooks. And the difference between them and this program is that you would pay this company, usually depending on the company, either you pay them a fairly reasonable upfront fee for them to help design your book and put it in the Mobi format that you need to upload onto Amazon. But then they will take a percentage of every sale you get, or you pay them a big upfront fee of usually anywhere from $1,200 to $2,500 for them to do the same thing, and
yeah,
you will get a really nice looking product. So if that is a real priority for you and you have the resources for that, it's definitely worth checking out. The nice thing about this book creator is it is free, it is easy to use, and it makes self-publishing available to everyone.
yeah,
But then you take it on yourself, the responsibility of learning what good book design looks like, and
right,
either finding a professional illustrator or creating the illustrations yourself, but making them of good quality. So it just
yeah.
depends how much of that you want to do on your own.
That's a good answer. And so these other options are out there, but
Mhm.
Laura's course specifically addresses Amazon's own software for this that hasn't been around, that hasn't been available to people yet.
Right.
And Laura, I should mention that we ourselves at Marks and Splashes Online Learning, we introduced an ingenious little course back in 2013 by illustrator Rob Smith that showed how to create your illustrated page spreads for picture books as JPEG files and convert your picture book into a Mobi file for
Hmm.
Kindle using
Hmm.
Rob's homemade HTML template.
Ah.
The whole point there was, though, that you had to have be a designer or know a designer or work with a designer to develop that page, because you were
Hmm.
actually uploading
Yes.
images as pages.
Uh-huh.
But Laura's course is about Amazon's new software that sort of makes it easy for everybody. So, uh, okay, now I'm anxious now to get Laura to tell us a little bit about the course,
Okay.
but I wanted to make sure uh, uh, I wanted to make sure I got some real the basic questions out of the way. So, um, so this will be a good way to lead into Laura's course. So here's a question. I have a children's story written that I'd like to publish as an ebook, but I don't have illustrations for it or an illustrator.
Hmm.
But I want it to be a children's picture book. Can your course help me with that?
Yes. Absolutely. And when I open up the main page of the course, I will show you exactly where we have lots of tips on different ways to find illustrators depending on what your budget is. And we always say get the best illustrations you can afford, because for a picture book, as you know, illustrations are crucial. They are, half the story is told through pictures, sometimes more than half the story. So those illustrations are essential, and the child is looking at the illustrations while the story's being read to them, or they're going back and forth between the pictures and the words. But so, spending the money, whatever money you can, on the illustrations is really important, and we have lots of resources for you in our course.
Yes, they sure do. You'll be surprised at all the easy resources and how to use them effectively. And that is spelled out in Laura's course. All right, here's another basic question, Laura. I have a children's story I'd like to publish as an ebook, but I'm not sure it's good enough or well written enough. What do I do?
Okay, well, that's a really good question, and you should be asking that. Everybody
Right,
should, because the first thing I say in our course before we even get into anything else is first make sure your manuscript is ready to become a published book. And my course does not go into the actual writing. On our CBI Clubhouse site, we that's pretty much all we deal with is craft. But
right.
we are starting with the assumption that you have taken the time to learn your craft, to have your book critiqued by a writers group or a professional editor, that you have rewritten it several times, that you have studied other books similar to yours and really gotten a sense of what's out there and whether yours has the same standard. Um, so if you're not sure, I think doing some of those steps, getting it critiqued by someone who knows children's books, joining a writers group, going on our site and just reading a lot of our material on picture book writing, and sort of comparing your work to what we say, what we talk about, will be very important. And everybody should be concerned with those things before they even consider, now I'm going to sit down and make this into a book. Because as I said, the good will rise to the top. And if it's not good, it'll disappear very quickly.
Laura's website and membership site, Children's Book Insider in the CBI Clubhouse, has a full-blown course by Laura in there that comes free with the membership, that just answers all of your writing questions. It's a wonderful resource, and there's of course there are other writing teachers, and your critique groups, SCBWI critique groups
Right.
are good, but yeah, we've got to create some good content. Okay, now here's one, Laura, that um, maybe there is no good answer for this, but how do I make sure my new children's picture ebook gets a good review in School Library Journal, the Horn Book, and Publishers Weekly?
It would be nice if we could somehow ensure that, wouldn't it? Um, Again, quality. These publications are finally starting to look at self-published books. In fact, I wanted to show you. I'm going to open up my screen sharing here because I have
Okay.
a website I want to show you. Um, this is, wait, I have to click this little thing here. Let's see. Okay, this site called Book Life. Can you all see that? You see that, Mark?
Now, hang on just a second. Yes, I see it on my screen. There might be just a
Okay.
second leg on the event page. Got it.
Okay. This is a website by Publishers Weekly, which is a huge industry trade publication that reviews books. And this is just for self-published books. And right here, so Publishers Weekly is starting to give lots of space to self-published books.
Huh.
And this is where you can actually submit your book for review to Publishers Weekly. Now, it doesn't guarantee they're going to review it, but here's how you submit it. And this site has lots of other good resources on the creation and marketing and that sort of thing, articles and links to sites. Um, so I think this is a really interesting development in the industry. But again, if it's not good, they're not going to give it the space. I think that with so many people self-publishing now, they are either going to give reviews only to books that they feel are worth the review space, so that they think actually are worth reading, or reviews of books by well-known authors
Yeah.
who already have a following. So if you're a newbie, you want your stuff to be good enough that the reviewers of PW say, yep, we're going to review this book.
That is so
So
interesting, Laura.
it's
That is
back,
so interesting.
yeah, thanks. It gets back to the whole quality and craft, and that's really the most important thing.
Uh,
Okay.
Laura has Laura Shutta Crum, who is a picture book author, well-known picture book author, very successful. She just has a question here that
Sorry,
this
I'm
new
probably
software
sharing the
is.
wrong screen here. I'm trying to get back to my Hangout page.
Oh yeah, I know it's
What
it's
am
it's
I
crazy
doing?
switching back and forth between the
Oh,
screens.
there it
I'm
is.
I'm doing it too.
I was on the wrong screen, and there. Okay, now I
I
should be back.
she says I've read that this new software is good for previewing the layout. Could it be used solely for that purpose? That is, simply as a replacement for dummies. In other words, you could upload it, publish it, and then send the link to it in your query letter to an agent or an editor, and not used to take that final step to publication.
That's an
What is your
interesting
thought?
idea. I haven't thought about that. There's probably a way to do that. When you create the ebook in this software, it's a MOBI file, which is the format that Amazon uses for the Kindle. So whoever you send it to would have to have a Kindle app on their PC in order to read the MOBI file,
Ah,
which is not a big deal. You know, I have one on
good
mine.
point, though.
It's easy to find. But that's an
Yeah,
interesting concept. You know, if it's the kind of thing that
premium device.
I would first ask the editor, you know, is it okay if I send you this MOBI file as in place of my dummy, and do you have the Kindle app on your computer? And if they say yes, then sure, I think it could work very well
Well,
for you.
what if they published it as an ebook on
If you
Kindle?
publish it as an ebook on Kindle,
You could
then
say they have to have a Kindle to preview it, or
they would have
an
to,
app
well,
on their desktop.
they would have to get it from Amazon in order to read it. Now you can always have it, you know, give it away for free, or you could
Yeah,
have it
that's
for
yeah,
99 cents or whatever.
yeah.
Um, but that's an interesting idea. I think we're probably not quite there yet with,
Okay.
it seems it's requiring the people who you want to see your dummy to take that extra step, but I
Yeah.
imagine pretty soon we'll be there where
Well,
that'll be
and I
possible.
think what one thing Shutta might be thinking of is the fact now we've got a format that allows, to some extent, for the page turn, and you can
Yes.
put the two-page open spread there,
Hmm.
and that is what the new Kindle Kids Book Creator allows you to do,
Hmm.
which is so you kind of almost,
Yes.
yeah, I think that's what. Okay, good. Well, you have been really generous sharing lots of information, giving us the big picture. But now I think we want to hear more about the course,
Okay.
and have you tell us a little bit about what we can expect from the course.
Okay. Well, here I'm going to share my screen again, and
Okay.
hopefully all will go well.
And guys, keep typing your questions up there for Laura. This is a time. This is our time with her.
Okay, so here is the main page of our course. We kept this very simple. So once you purchase when you purchase the course, you will be asked to create a username and password, which you will use to then log into this course forever. And so the course exists online, so you can access it from any computer as long as you use your username and password. And then you'll have access to the updates as we add them. So after you log in, you go to the main page, and it basically looks like this. There's a video here that kind of walks you through what we've got in the course. Um, and then each of these modules, if you click on this, you'll either get a document or you'll get a video. And a lot of our videos, we also provide transcripts for as PDFs so you can print them out.
Mm.
So these are just some opening thoughts from us, and this is a video I did on 5 things you must do before creating your book, and that's where I talk about your craft, copy editing, proofreading. I give some resources for that. I also talk about considerations of the fact that you are creating a book for a small screen. So think about the flow of the illustrations. You still want, I'm sorry, I'm coughing. I have allergies and they're like
Mm.
attacking me tonight. Um, you know, you still want to have that sort of page turning quality to your story and your illustrations, even though you're swiping the page on the screen as opposed to, or clicking from one page to the next as opposed to turning a page of a book. But also on the smaller screen, you're not going to have as much room for detailed illustrations. So you want to think about what is the most important element of the illustration that has to be there. Um, how much of each scene are you going to contain within one illustration? How much space on the page is the text going to take up? So you're going to think about those things. So you're thinking a little bit like a designer here. And the nice thing about ebooks is that you are not limited to a certain page length. With print picture books, we are still at 32-page picture books because that's the way the printing presses work. And I imagine that will change pretty soon. But
Hmm.
most picture book writers and illustrators have 32 pages to work with, and that includes your title page and copyright page and that sort of thing. When you've got an ebook, if you need 38 pages for your story, you can take it. If your story is complete in 22 pages, it's 22 pages long. And I think that's really nice. So you can, if you need to, essentially break up a scene into 2 or 3 book pages in order to have what's what you need to get into the illustrations fitting on that small screen. You can do it. You have some leeway there. I also talk about fonts, the kind of fonts you should use because you want them to be easy to see on the screen. Um, I talk about your title and your cover. Those are very important because your title and your cover are really your best sales tools, and they are your make or break sales tools. So
Hmm.
give some tips for that. And again, remember when people see your cover on Amazon, it's tiny. So you don't want a lot of detail in that cover. You want it to be dramatic, but with a big enough image and a title that is catchy enough that you can see it in that little thumbnail that you get on the Amazon page and you can remember it. So you
Hmm.
don't want a really convoluted title that's hard for people to remember. So we give some tips for that. And then here, this whole section has to do with finding illustrators. So we walk you through a lot of different options. This is a link that we just put up today to the Marks and Splashes Illustrator community. Um, but we talk about finding a professional illustrator, using lower cost design services, stock images, the Amazon ebook creator. We also talk about if you do use stock images, you want to make them unique because other people are going to be using them too. So we have some tips for how to do that. A lot of these are, I'm just clicking on one here. A lot of these are going to be um, video where we walk you through, we show you different sites, we give you the links that we talk about. So it's real easy to go through the course. And then here, the module 3 is where I really go sort of step by step through the design process. These are all videos, and I talk slow because I know when I am trying.
Yes, you do a wonderful job of taught your
Yes,
pacing in these technical videos
I
is
am.
note perfect, Laura.
Oh, well,
Um,
thank you. I appreciate that because I sometimes thought, oh, do people think I'm talking down to them? And I'm not. I'm
no.
thinking if I were following this video and I had it open on on a screen next to where I was actually doing it myself on the program, I wanted to be able to follow it. And like I said, I'm not a tech person, so I need things explained slowly to me. So that's why I did it that way. But then there's some cool stuff I found. Um, Ninja pop-up techniques. These are sort of fun little pop-up techniques I've discovered. This explains the basic pop-ups. Here I give you some workarounds for it. That there are limitations to the design of this software. So I came up with a few workarounds for that. But as people use it and say to me, look what I did, I'll be able to add more information to this section, which will be really nice.
Oh, how nice! This module, in this module that Laura was just referring to, these take you right inside the software, and you're
Yes.
seeing Laura build a picture book. I mean, a sample of a picture book,
Right.
and going step by step through all the process, and it happens at a pace that we can absorb and
Yes.
appreciate. So,
Good. And then here in this section, John walks you through how to upload your book onto Amazon once it's complete, once you've got that Mobi file, which is created in this last step here, and also creating your Amazon author page. This is a really important sales tool. And he talks
yeah.
about what keywords you should use, what sort of language you should use in your book description. Again, these are things people are going to be reading and deciding whether or not they want to buy your book. And keyword selection is really important because you have to think what search keywords are people going to be typing in. Um,
Uh,
they might not be the words in the title of my book. So I have to figure out, what the central ideas are in my story, what the themes are, and create keywords around those things. So he talks about that. Here we've got three awesome videos. Each one is about a half hour long with different people who are great at marketing their ebooks. And they each give you a different sort of insight into either marketing with social media and book trailers, or
hmm,
getting reviews on Amazon, or doing other social media and things like giving away your book for free for a while and building up your list and that sort of thing. And what I would strongly suggest is before you do the final publication of your book, watch these videos because you might watch them and decide, I'm going to tweak my title after seeing that, or I'm going to tweak some of the things I say on my author page or my cover once I hear these marketing tips. So don't leave this until the very end after you've already published your book on Amazon.
hmm,
Watch them first.
good tip.
Yeah. And then here we have some PDFs you can download, tips for creating a great cover, understanding KDP Select. There are two ways to sell your book on Amazon. There's the regular Kindle store, where you basically put your book up there and then you can sell it on Amazon and anywhere else you want simultaneously. If you go by KDP Select, that means for 90 days, Amazon gets your book exclusively. So you cannot sell it elsewhere for 90 days. However, there's a lot of benefits to KDP Select. They do a lot of extra promotion for these books. They, with KDP Select, those books are also automatically entered in the Kindle Unlimited program, which is a new program Amazon has done fairly recently with Kindle, where people pay one monthly fee. It's kind of like Netflix. They pay one monthly fee, and then they can download as many ebooks as they want during the month.
Yes. Yeah.
And if your book is in KDP Select, it can be part of that unlimited option. And you still get paid for those downloads as well as when someone buys your book. So you get payment from Amazon. And one author I talked to said he gets about $1.80 to $2 every time someone clicks on his book as part of their Kindle Unlimited selection of that month, um, which is more than you would get in royalties on a picture book from a publisher if someone bought your book. So it's a good deal. And again, it's a 90-day exclusivity. And then after that 90 days, you can sell your book anywhere you want. So that we kind of explain that. And then this is a free ebook that you can download. It's a complete ebook on also creating free and low cost illustrations for your Kindle book. And we did not write this ebook, but we have licensed it and are able to include it in this package, which is great. And there's a lot of really good tips in there as well if you're using, especially if you're using like photographs, or say you're doing a nonfiction book and you've taken all
Hmm.
the photos yourself, but you want some of those photos to look like illustrations instead of photographs. This ebook tells you how to do that, how to
Oh, how
use
cool.
how to
That's
use
fun.
free photo editing software available online to do these cool things. Um, and then we give you a mastery checklist, kind of a last minute, make sure I've dotted all my I's and crossed all my T's. Um, and then here is another free ebook that we have just included as a bonus. Um, and this would be if you have a longer novel, a chapter book, something where you want to publish it on Kindle, but you don't want to use the kids book creator. This
Uh-huh.
will tell you how to do that, because a lot of people have several different books and they want to be able to put them all up on Kindle. So this ebook gives you that information. So there's a lot in this course.
There is a lot in this course. You also talk about a free image manipulation software that you can download and that you use, Laura,
Yes.
to
Mm-hmm.
format your books. So you
Yes.
you talk about these issues of how do you crop, how do you
Yes.
fit
Mm-hmm.
your pictures onto the Kindle, onto the limited Kindle software page. So
Yes.
you bring in some other tools. You introduce us to some
Yes,
new things.
I do. And anytime we talk about a software, we provide the link for it within the lesson unit so that you can find it easily.
What a nice walkthrough. All right, I saw the questions piling up on the event page already, Laura. So
Okay,
can we stop here for a second and just take
let's
some of these
stop here and
questions? And now that they've seen what's in the course,
I'll
what's
stop.
inside, hang on
Okay.
just a second. Let me go to the page. Okay, Damon was asking, do you have a sense for how nonfiction picture books might do on the ebook market?
I think they will do very well.
That's what I was
We
thinking.
Yes, we need more nonfiction picture books. Even editors are saying that all the time. There is a bigger market right now for nonfiction than fiction. It is often easier to market it to your audience because with nonfiction, you have a very specific topic. You say, I've got this picture book about the life cycle of frogs. Okay, you can reach people who want to know about the life cycle of frogs. Whereas if you have a nice bedtime story, you're competing directly against everybody else who has a nice bedtime story on the market.
Mm.
So nonfiction is easier to market. There's a big demand for it.
Easier to
Kids
get keywords for and
Easier to
use.
get keywords for. Kids love nonfiction. Nonfiction can be very easily illustrated with photographs. And I actually, in one of my pop-up examples, I have a photograph, and I showed how you could create a pop-up on the page that had extra facts about the subject, because kids
Yes.
love facts and trivia and wacky information. You can hide that with pop-ups in your book and let them discover it, which would be a really fun thing to do. So yes, I think nonfiction could do really well.
Uh, Aggie Wilson, who's an author and illustrator, well known, says I've been thinking of revamping my books already published through the new vehicle. Laura, I appreciate your thoughts and thank you on the info about Publishers Weekly's book life.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some discussions about create space, and can you also simultaneously get Amazon to create a hard copy print on demand version of your
Yes,
book?
yes, and that is the nice thing too about using the software, because then you can very easily upload it into the Create Space, which is Amazon's print self-publishing unit,
Mm-hmm.
and you can have a print book and a Kindle book simultaneously being sold on Amazon. And that is a great advantage because Amazon does a lot of cross marketing when that happens. And
Wow.
you'll notice if you ever look at a page for a print book, there will also be a little link right there for the Kindle edition, right on the same page. So Amazon loves that.
Oh,
They love it
wow.
when people, and they also love it. One of our marketing experts, he says this in his video in the course, they love it when you have more than one book out on Kindle, because they will
Ah,
link to all your books on one page. And what he said, he's got 4 or 5 books out on Kindle now. He said every time he puts out a new book, he always his sales on his other books always jump, because it
yes.
just gives him a bigger presence on Amazon, and people see this one book and then they scroll down a little bit and it's like, oh, there's his other three. and a lot of times they just click, click, click.
Well, here's the crazy thing. Although Amazon does not act as your publisher per se, they do give you all this prominent space in their online catalog. You've got not only your author page where you get to write all about you and link to your other books, but then you've got a separate book page, for each book that you do with your
Correct.
thumbnail cover image, as if Amazon was including you in their publishing catalog, and it's
Correct.
a catalog that's perused by millions and millions of people.
Hmm.
Uh, it's and you have control over those pages.
Hmm.
That's pretty amazing in its own right. There's so many rules being
Right.
and so many
Well,
traditions being smashed and broken
there
here.
are, and one thing you have to remember about Amazon, we tend to almost think of Amazon as a bookstore or a regular store. It's not. Amazon is a search engine, is what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
And people go to Amazon because they're looking to buy something. You don't really go to Amazon to browse that much. As far as like, oh, I feel like window shopping today. I'm going to just sort of see what's for sale. It's not that kind. It's, I want to buy a book for my child. I'm going to see what's on Amazon and I'm going to type in my child loves trains. I want to buy a book for my child on trains. So they're going there with the idea that I'm going to spend money now,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's what makes it so different from anything else. And as an author or illustrator, that is a huge gift to you to be on that platform. Um, and a lot of people have mixed feelings about Amazon as a company and this and that, and I totally understand that. But if you, as an author, really just have this dream of getting your work out there in front of people, this is a
yeah.
tremendous opportunity for you, um,
Y-
to do that.
And when you're learning about marketing your book online, I think it behooves all of us as self-employed business people to learn how to market. So these things you learn about marketing your little ebooks will serve you in life, whether you're marketing
Absolutely.
your skills as a writer or an illustrator, an online publisher. I mean,
Well,
this is stuff we've all got to learn now.
it is. And things like the keywords, what you learn
Right.
on Amazon with keywords, you can create blog posts that have those same keywords in them, and the Google search engines will pick them up.
Well, sure.
And I've learned a lot about that. If you put really good keywords in the title and the first couple lines of a blog post, that's what the Google search engines look at. So you
Yeah.
can cross market a lot.
Cross market a lot with your
Sure.
online
Mhm.
properties and your blogs and your social media. I mean, it just goes on, and this space didn't exist for writers, illustrators, creators, publishers 10 years ago. I mean, Facebook's not that old, is it? It's, and yet this is what all the successful writers are now using. No matter where they are in the publishing food chain, they're
Yes.
all using this aggressively and energetically. And I think we should mention about CreateSpace is that, for those of you who may not be familiar with this, CreateSpace is a print-on-demand vehicle. This is something new and radical also for authors, and that is you don't pay up front to fill your garage full of printed book inventory. You don't pay anything. You might pay a little bit of a setup fee, and they have extra services CreateSpace can provide for you if you need designing and consultations of various kinds. They have a menu, a la carte price list, but it's in the hundreds, not the thousands of dollars, and you don't even need to go that route. And then you only pay as your books are sold. You only pay for the printing per book, not unlike they're doing with the ebooks.
Right.
It's amazing.
Hmm.
Um,
It
so
really is, and the
yeah,
quality is good. I have a friend who has self-published on CreateSpace and also through a more high-end printer, and she's
hmm.
held the books side by side, and there's very little difference.
Wow,
So the quality is very good, and the turnaround time is very fast. I mean, I think they get that book printed and out in the mail within about 24 hours. So
yeah,
24 to 48
to their
hours
to their customer.
to the customer. So it's not a long wait either, which is really nice.
Now Lucy is asking, Laura, does CreateSpace, do they have the proper paper for the children's books that they print? I was disappointed by the poor quality of the paper when I published her book uh, as a chapter book. It was
Yeah,
not, yeah,
from what I've heard, it's gotten better. I have not really looked at that within the last 6 months, I wouldn't say.
Mm.
I know that when they first started CreateSpace, people were complaining about the paper quality, and I think that Amazon made some improvements there. Um, I I am guessing, and this is just my speculation, because Amazon seems to be really embracing this illustrated children's book market,
Picture driven, yeah.
picture driven, that they are going to work on the quality
Mm.
of their create space, and probably have some sort of create space program eventually just for the illustrated picture books, where they can really get those colors good, and the heavier paper quality. So I would definitely look for that coming down the road. It would surprise me if they don't do that fairly
That's a
soon.
really good point. I think that's a really good insight. Uh, Now we're those of us we're used to seeing these beautiful productions from the legacy print publishers, the big five with picture books, and this is not that. These ebooks, children's ebooks, they're not the user experience we're used to with these
Right.
beautifully high
Yes.
high production valued picture books.
Yes.
This is something different, and as Laura pointed out, it's something in amid change. It's going to be continue to evolve.
Hmm.
Gosh, who knows? In 5 years, they might be holograms with a real virtual page turn experience that you emulate like you do with a Wii in
Yeah.
front of your computer or something. But um, let's see. Damon is asking on photographs for nonfiction. I understand you have to own any stock images you buy or own the photos yourself. Are there legal issues to now I know they cover this, Laura covers this in the course, but he says, are there legal issues to consider in publishing photos in an ebook? And I know that's kind of addressed in the
Go
lessons.
to, we've given you some links to stock photo places. Read the agreements very carefully that you would be agreeing to for any photos you want to use. But many of them allow you to use them in books, um, commercial, even something you're selling up to 300,000 copies. I mean, they put a limit on it. And then after you sell 300,000 copies, you have to go back and sort of pay a license fee to the photographer to continue using it.
Mm.
So each stock photo place is a little bit different. There are a couple places that I have seen where you can't use the images on a cover. You can use them on the inside, but not on a
Huh.
cover. So read the fine print. But there are a lot of places out there where yes, you can. You essentially buy the photo for a flat fee, and then you're allowed to use it in your book up to 300,000 copies. And I'd be pretty happy with that if I was going to be able to sell 300,000 copies of my ebook.
Right, right. Jan makes the comment from her experience, CreateSpace is really good. I've used them, she says. That's another point about CreateSpace. They're kind of uh, how should we say this, Laura? They're sort of an outcast in the trade in the in the
Yes.
retail
Well,
bookstores. They won't carry them because they're all so mad at Amazon. But
right.
as and that may not change for a while, for the foreseeable
Mm,
future. However, again, as with your ebooks, Amazon is not your publisher. You're the publisher. You own the rights. You can use your CreateSpace books to show an agent, uh, take to a conference, show an editor,
mhm.
it's not the end of the story for your book. It's your introduction or your pilot
Right.
for your book.
And
Is that a,
yes, and like I said, this is happening especially in young adult. Um, Authors are publishing their books on CreateSpace, selling 500,000 copies. I'm
yeah?
not even making up that number. That's a real number. And then Simon and Schuster calls and goes, "Oh, we would love to publish you." So publishers are paying attention to these things. They may badmouth Amazon because of certain business practices, which I totally understand, but the actual books, I think the publishers are really separating the authors who publish on CreateSpace from Amazon, the company. And so
Mm,
they don't have a prejudice against the authors, is what I'm saying. Um,
right.
and also remember, you as an author, you can have many books out there, some published by traditional legacy publishers. If you have that picture book that needs the Caldecott level illustrations and the nice paper and is a piece of art that really needs that format,
Hmm.
submit it to publishers.
Yeah.
Um, but if you've got a book that would work well on this in this Kindle Book Creator, do that too. There's no reason you can't do both.
Yeah, there's nobody holding the rules over your head.
Right.
You're making the rules. We've got a freedom now that we're not used to, and
Exactly.
a wide open playing field. Tracy Cox is asking, being that we are self-publishing, can we create a publishing name to build a brand? Tracy, do you mean like a your own publishing house? What would you say if that's what would you say to that? Like your own,
Yes.
give your publishing company a name and
Absolutely. You can. A lot of people do that. And in fact, when you start using the kids book creator, the first thing you have to do is put in the title of your book, your
yeah.
name, the author name, and then there's a place to put the name of the publisher if you have a publisher. So if you create your own publishing company, you would put the name in there, and then it would be on the book as the publisher. And a lot of authors do that. So, I think sometimes they feel that it kind of makes them look a little more professional. But also, if you plan on doing several ebooks and you want to do them all under the same publisher, it does kind of give you a little more presence, I think, online. So sure, you can do that.
Damon says, what about color on photos? If it looks right on my screen, will it look right on my ebook? Uh, you talk about trial and error and trying a lot of things, and the lessons thing you don't know until you
You don't know. And
see for
yes, and
yourself.
the nice thing about the program is your final step is you test the ebook on either a Kindle or with your Kindle app on your PC or your Mac. And you absolutely have to do that because it will look a little bit different than it does in your sort of layout book that you do. But I have been assured by Amazon that the way it looks there is the way it will look when it's published. And everybody who reads it on a Kindle or with a Kindle app will see what you're seeing on
Well,
that step.
and your lessons continue to go over the using the previewer to see not
Yes,
only in your Kindle Reader format, but in the whole spectrum of different readers, including iOS stuff
yes.
and
Hmm.
iPads and iPhones and things
And
like that.
also the iInk, I did not demonstrate that on my course, but iInk is the Kindle format where it looks like ink on a
Oh,
page.
yes. Uh-huh.
So it's black and white. It'll turn all your pictures into black and white, but you can see how that's
You can
going to
see how
look
that's going to
as
look.
well. Hmm.
Yeah, the previewers are pretty great.
Yes.
Um, uh, Laura, does Amazon itself provide a lot of hand-holding and education and tutorials on how to use their Kindle Kids Book Creator?
There is a help button in in the Kids Creator, and it opens up a sort of a PDF manual that Amazon has created, and it's decent. I learned pretty much everything just by playing around with it myself, because it's written by computer programmers,
Right.
so it doesn't always make sense to those of us who don't speak tech. Um, but I have also gotten a response. I have emailed their Amazon help people and have actually gotten answers. It sometimes takes a couple days for them to get back to you, but yes, they will respond, which is nice.
Okay, so
But
that brings us to a question for you guys. Would you rather have one of those Amazon computer tech guys help you hold you by the hand through the creation of an ebook, or would you rather have Laura talking to you and holding you by the? I know what I would choose um, to help walk you through. The other thing is Laura was developing a course, and that's why she was going through the
right,
the train the self-teaching, which was very arduous, and she knew she was on it. She had a self-imposed deadline, but having the kind of walk-through training in her course that I've experienced seeing for the last couple of days. I bought the course, and I'm real happy I did. Uh, the time you're going to save, having her show you tricks and the tips and telling you the resources instead of you figuring out is really going to be a night and day difference. I mean,
Yes, and
clearly you can see.
one thing Amazon won't tell you is any of the marketing tips that we give you about
Oh
how
yeah,
to
and all the
your
marketing.
social media and how to get reviews. The video we have on how to get reviews on Amazon is really interesting and insightful about how to find people to review your book. And because you
Wow.
want to get as many of those 4 and 5 star reviews as possible up front, because it does bump your book up the chain, um,
Yes.
in the search engines. And
Yeah.
you don't just want your friends to review it, because people kind of catch on to that. They kind of figure it out. And Amazon
Yeah.
figured that out too. Um, if they see a certain kind of review popping up over and over on a book, and they're like, okay, this is probably a friend or a relative, we're not necessarily going to post that. So you have to get genuine reviews, and this video actually shows you how to do that, so it's very helpful.
Um, okay. So let me check. This has been really great, Laura. I'm going to check the wall for any last minute questions. Uh, Virginia asks, I've heard that the author illustrator keeping 70% on Kindle. When you figure international sales, you may or owe more to Kindle. So I think John goes into that in some of those in his section about how to upload your book and publish to Kindle.
Right.
Uh, it's kind of technical information, maybe a little beyond our discussion tonight, but it is covered in there. These are kind of pennies and dimes and negligible differences. I think there's also the issue of if you if you surpass the megabytes in your Mobi file because of all your images, if you go beyond a certain level, there's a certain surcharge that Amazon adds to its cut of your take, um, and
And
the
that's
the course goes into that.
right. And that's something you would know pretty quick. That it would alert you that your file's too big, and you can go back and it would be in your illustrations that would be causing that. You could even just make some of your illustration files a little smaller or something like that to tweak that. I think that'd be pretty easy to fix. Something interesting about the payment too is that I talked about that Kindle Unlimited that people can subscribe to and
Yes.
download as many books as they want. Amazon has a program called uh, Kindle All Stars, I believe, where books that really get downloaded a lot, they give those authors bonuses. Amazon actually gives cash bonuses to these authors every month. Like the top 10 best-selling Kindle Unlimited authors in each category get bonuses, and I mean it's thousands of dollars. And so if you do a lot of work promoting your book and marketing and really getting the word out, and you get a lot of downloads, you might get a bonus from Amazon.
And they're still not your publisher.
And they're still not your publisher.
That's so
Yes.
funny. There's a whole different ecosphere for publicity and reviews and the way books are vetted and evaluated. It's all brand new, and Laura's kind of on the cutting edge with her classes and this whole social media world of book promotion and uh, uh, letting the world know. It's really fallen on the author's shoulders
Mm-hmm.
in both the traditional publishing and e-publishing, but you can really make tracks in in the online space yourself,
Mm-hmm.
as I'm sure many of you know and have seen your buddies on Facebook doing. Um, so let's see. Blog tours. I guess there'll be book blog tours. There'll be ebook blog tours, and Laura has
Yes.
already alluded to video trailers for your ebooks and all kinds of fun stuff. It's great. This is really great, Laura, and now let's talk about the price of the course.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds like a very expensive training, but it's crazy affordable. Uh, so do you want to talk about the price?
Sure. It's right now it's $127,
Okay.
and that price is our introductory price, and that is
Right.
good until October 15th. And then it
Okay.
will go up to 197, and that will be the final, official price of the course. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, from now till October 15th, it is $70 off, and it's $127.
If you want to read more about Laura's course, over here on the right-hand side of the of the event page here in the details box, you'll see official site. And that's really my vendor's link in that official site. Actually, it links to Laura's page where you can either order the book or you can click on the title of the course and it will take you to a page that's kind of a sales letter page that tells you a whole lot more about the course. But that is where to go to order the book. Right now it's $127. It's a great investment, and I will put up some other links on the event page. I'll put up the links to Laura's pages online for writeforkids.com and a book designer that we both know, Joel Friedlander, who has really good templates that you can. Well, we'll probably talk to him in the future a little bit too. You could turn his templates into PDFs that you can take into the Kindle Kids Book Creator through Laura's course and upload your book that way, or turn the PDF into a MOBI file. And I'll put other resources on this page, and you can continue to post questions, and maybe Laura will take a look at the page and she can answer some questions, or I can answer them. Sherilyn is asking Laura, how long is there access to the course? Let me answer that if I can. I think what we heard Laura say was that it's a living course, in that she and John are going to be monitoring this phenomena, and they're going to be updating the course as needed with all the changes that are sure to come. So, Laura, is that correct? We just kind of have lifetime access to this
lifetime access,
particular
yep,
course.
exactly, and we will work to keep it as current as possible. Every time there's a change, we'll add something to the course that covers it.
Great, good, thanks. I'm checking the page one more time for your questions. Otherwise, we'll let Laura get back to her work and her family. Is there capacity for sound? I think not yet in the Kindle e-readers yet, but stay tuned.
I imagine there will be, but not yet.
Hey, Charlie Eve, I see you there. And do we have to have the Kindle to do the ebook, or can the software be downloaded and easily used and viewed on our screens, our PCs, yes, or our iPads
okay. Yes, I have viewed it on. I have a Kindle app on my PC. So when I create my demo book, to check the layout and that sort of thing, preview book, I then open up my Kindle app, and I can click on my MOBI file and look at it on my screen, but through my Kindle app. So it will look just like it will look on the Kindle. It'll be a little smaller, but
right.
And you can also do the same thing on an iPad if you have the Kindle app. There's a way to create a file that you can then send to your iPad and look at it there. So no, you don't have to actually own a Kindle to do this.
Okay, great. So I am now looking at the future of children's book publishing right here. And you, or maybe part of the future anyway, and you know where the link is to read more about the course or to purchase the course at this introductory price that disappears on October 15th, and the link is up there in the official website box where the details are. And let's all thank Laura for her time and walking us through and introducing us to this new self-publishing opportunity for us.
Great.
Give your thanks on the walls and just enter it in the comments, and so Laura can read them. And if you have some vestigial questions, just go ahead and put them on the page, and we'll try to get back to you or answer the questions on this page. The replay will be up, I think, as soon as we end the broadcast. So you can watch the replay, and we'll keep this page up for a while, at least until the introductory.
Well, and I wanted to also say this: if any of our members of Children's Book Insider, of our membership site, are also, or if you join after listening to this and you create a Kindle book on this program, send me your book, and at some point I want to do a little showcase on our site
Oh, there, that's a good idea.
of our members and their books they've created, and so people can really see. I think we're going to get some really creative projects coming out of this,
Oh,
and
what a great idea, a
so
showcase. That'll help,
yeah.
that's part of the marketing ecosphere. We'll do the same thing with our author illustrators in the Marks and Splashes online community. We'll showcase you guys, let us know about your uploads, your successes, and we'll try to give you as much publicity as we can. And for those of you who are authors and publishers but don't have illustrators, I will put up the link that Laura was referring to. We've got a illustrator matchup service, kind of like speed dating between authors, publishers, and illustrators. It's a little form you can fill out, and we have a wonderful community of illustrators of all kinds of skill levels and backgrounds, and they're from all over the world who would be eager to give you a bid to for illustrations for your book project or your book series. All you got to do is get in touch with us. So we'll put that link up. This is something new for our community, but they have done it before. Six of our students were hired right off the bat to do a series of fairy tales for Us Time books, which was kind of an interactive ebook, high-end ebook publisher, producer, and several of the students were so good they were asked to do more than one book. So we've got some really good talent in our community, and we can make it available to you. It won't be a brokerage service or anything. We'll just be a posting wall. So if you put your information on our form that I'll give you the link to, then I'll post it to our community walls, and then from then on it will be between you and the illustrators, and they know that you're not going to be answering all their emails. You'll be picking the ones you're interested in, and illustrators will be sending you their work samples or links to their online portfolios and stuff. So hopefully it'll be of great benefit to both parties. Okay, so let's say goodnight. Laura, thank you for the wonderful presentation and the wonderful Q&A, and we hope we can talk to you again. We'd like to get you back on here to talk about writing and
Sure.
your writing instruction, and give us tips on how those of us who are illustrators, maybe writing is not our strong suit, but we want to be author illustrators too, and I think your instruction is ready-made for this kind of endeavor as well,
Well, good.
teaching non-writers to be writers and so-so writers to be better writers. So I'm going to end the broadcast now. Thanks everybody, and we'll talk to you again soon. Don't forget to order Laura's book if the spirit moves you and it looks good to you. It's the only training of its kind out there for this new software, 2.5-week-old software that Amazon has just come out with. Okay, good night everybody.
Night. Thank you.
Talk soon. Bye.